Yo, 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 yo. We
Yeah.
are the Weekend Rhyme. This is your boy Ron as Leroy Green. We are back at it again. This is the number one podcast on the weekend, coming to you on a weekday because we got some news. Leroy
Right.
hit me up early today, said, you know what, we gotta chop it up about a couple things. So we here for you on a whatever day we're gonna maybe on a Wednesday.
Tuesday.
When we post
Tuesday.
this Tuesday on a Wednesday, whatever day it
Uh-huh.
is. We got a good show for you today. Jay-Z is back outside again, gearing up for his Roots picnic show, but he has another honor that he's been bestowed upon. The 30th
Yeah.
New York Times came out with a 30th Greatest Living Songwriters. Interesting list. We'll talk about that. And Jay Z's on the list, and he did an interview and talked about his process. Leroy's going to kind of unpack that process a little bit, kind of give a deep dive into the
Yeah.
mind of Jay Z and his pen game and what makes Jay Z one of the most important writers in music history, but also one of the most important writers in hip hop history and just hip hop in general. So we're gonna touch on that. Also, want to touch about the other hip hop people, the personalities that were on the list. Missy Elliott was on the list. Outkast was on the list. Young Thug was on the list, and Kendrick Lamar was on the list. We want to kind of talk about that a little bit and give them their props for being on the list. Shout out to them. Also, Stove God Cooks is in the news, and Leroy wants to want to unpack that a little bit. And what else
A
we
little
got?
bit.
What else we got? What else we got? I think that's a jam packed show. So
A little bit. I got a little bit of AZ too, but
a little bit of
I'm gonna
AZ.
talk mostly about Jay because people know I've been on that already. But we'll see. You know.
So before we get started, I need you to do the needful. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Tell a friend, leave a comment, give us a like, buy us a cup of coffee, give us a shout out, give
Please
us a super
do.
thanks, super chat, whatever you want to do. Just like us, give us a sub if you appreciate the conversation. But let's jump right into the show, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Times have their list of 30th greatest living songwriters. I think it's very interesting list. Let's get to the non hip hop folks on it real quick. Then we'll get to the topic of this discussion. Interesting list. You got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I mean, that's self explanatory. I mean, legends in the game. Janet Jackson, so many people. Bob Dylan's on the list. Mariah Carey's on the list. Lana Del Rey is on the list. The Dream. The Dream writing for Beyonce. I mean, a lot of those
Shout out
songs.
to Lana Del Rey, man. Wow.
Yeah, she's on the list. Rihanna, The Dream wrote for Rihanna, Sierra. He also wrote for Mariah Carey. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, man.
you got to put some respect on Dream's name. Who
Oh,
else?
of
Bad
course.
Bunny made the list, which was interesting. Bruce Springsteen, another great songwriter, Born to Run, Born in the USA. Uh, I'm on fire. Got a lot of good records. You know what I'm saying from the
Yeah.
boss, Bruce Springsteen. Who else is on this list? Bob Dylan, I said. Valerie Simpson, from Shaka Khan, Ashford and Simpson, Marvin Gaye. Shout out to her. Can't believe she's still among with us. Who else is on this list? Willie Nelson. Who else? I'm scrolling through. Carol King,
Fiona Apple.
Fiona
Uh,
Apple. That was interesting. That was an interesting list. Babyface. Shout out
Bruce
to Babyface.
Springsteen.
Babyface. Come on. Johnny Gill, Mary J, Whitney Houston, Madonna, Karen
Yeah.
White, Babyface. You know what I'm saying? So many different hits the Babyface got. I went to a Babyface show and he did like a medley of songs that he just wrote, not the songs that he performed, because
Right.
he wrote the songs he performed, but he did like a whole set of songs
Yeah.
he'd been writing since the '80s.
Right.
So shout out to Babyface. Who else is on the
A,
list
a
here?
distinction though here though that I would like to make real quickly is writing songs for other people. That is a great talent. I don't want to undercut that. But I think writing songs for yourself is its own thing, and I also think being a rapper is its own thing because rappers are using way more words. 48 lines per song versus other people that's not really writing that many lines.
Right,
Respectfully.
right, right. Shout out to Dolly Parton. Shout out to Lionel Richie. Shout out to Niles
For
Rodgers.
sure, yeah, for sure.
Also made a list. But on the hip hop front,
All
uh,
greats.
Stevie Wonder made a list too. Come on, Stevie Wonder, one of the
Of
greatest
course.
songwriters of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
But on the hip hop
of
front,
course.
you had the New York Times gave shout out and credit to Young Thug. Missy Elliott made the list. Kendrick
Okay.
Lamar made the list as well. And
Hmm.
also Outkast made the list. And the person that we're going to talk about tonight, the MC, Jay-Z, made the list. And the list that they gave to Jay-Z, they say his essential songs were 99 Problems. What else was 99 Problems, Dead Presidents, Where I'm From, You Don't Know, and a PSA public service announcement. So those are the
Okay.
songs that they sounded. But
So the popular stuff.
I think the popular stuff, but you can go, when I think of Jay-Z, and I'm gonna turn it over to Leroy. And shout out to Taylor Swift too, real quick. I know that's a kind of a hard segue before I get back to Jay.
No, that's
A
fine.
lot of people don't understand that Taylor Swift is a songwriter as well, and my daughter listens to her from time to time, and I get to hear some of it. She's a pretty good songwriter. But anyway, I digress. But back to Jay Z, they picked the popular stuff, but if you go back to Jay Z, um, from a songwriting perspective, I think of songs like The Evils, right? Off of some Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable
So he
doubt.
used to fight the building blocks, how he breaks down the game. Yeah, he says 9 to 5 is how you survive. I'm not trying to survive. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it alive. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I
Even
kept feeding her money till her shit started to make sense.
right. It's crazy. It's crazy. A song like Fallen, I mean, where
Right.
he's depicting the downfall of being on the top of the game. You know what I'm saying? He's in his hustle. He's at the peak of being a hustler. You know what I'm saying? He's an
Right.
American gangster. He's rapping like he's talking like he's Frank Lucas, and he's talking about, man, he says he said FHD. He front row at the fight. See how clear my view is. You know what I'm saying? And he say he's like he's watching a movie. He's saying so he following
Hmm.
you applause and you screaming at the screen. Damn, you effed up like your favorite movie scene. You know what I'm saying? He's depicting a picture of falling. You know what I'm saying? You got a
Yeah.
million and one questions. You got friend or foe. You got so many things. The streets is watching. You got where I'm from was where they mentioned.
Yeah.
You got so many songs that
I
that
mean, you
Jay Z
name good
paints
ones.
the picture. I'm even leaving some out. Song cry. You got even from a songwriter perspective, like a witty song, like Girls, Girls, Girls. Even the Girls,
Yep. Yep.
Girls, Girls remix, the part two joint. You know what I'm saying? That's a little different. Bees and
Featuring Michael Jackson.
yeah, bees and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Where he talks about the difference between a bee and a sister. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Two
man,
things, duality. He's normally talking about two things in songs. That's
yeah, I mean, he's
different.
got December 4th, make love.
Yeah. It's
If you go to 444, you go to 444 from a songwriting perspective.
right.
You got the Family Feud. You know what I'm saying? You got
Right.
even a song like Legacy. You know what I'm saying? When he breaks down, how they won't let black folks ball anymore. Now it's Afro Tech. You know what I'm saying? He's taking the back from the Jackie Robinsons in the Negro League era when we couldn't get to the Major League and we crossed over. Now in the
Yeah.
2000s, now we talking about technology, and that's a new barrier that black folks is in. He talks about escaping the touch of a preacher's hand and how that cursed the family and generational wealth and keeping it in the family, keeping it
Hey.
in the seed. He's got so as a songwriter, yeah, he's very intricate and he has the coders. I'm gonna turn it over to Leroy, but
No.
those are the kind of what I see as Jay Z as being prolific in songwriting. I'm leaving something out, but I'll come back to it. But go ahead, go ahead, Leroy.
Yeah, there's no way we could cover like even half of Jay's material. This is somebody that's been recording for 30 years, so we're not gonna cover most of his stuff, no matter what we do. You know what I'm saying? But you name some good songs, and and it's like the reason why I'm gonna give like you said Lana Del Rey, right? So Lana Del Rey, she's writing songs like a songwriter would write, all the other people they write songs, but she's writing her songs from her personal perspective. You see what I'm saying? Now that is something different. From her personal perspective with her own personal flair on it. So when we talk about the dream too, right? R&B songs was a certain way. Then all of a sudden, they started to kind of change a little bit. And that's the dream bringing his ATL personality into R&B. You feel what I'm saying? So you have a and a whole bunch of songs. It's a. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you follow that, then you'll see it's the person bringing their own thing. Now, what I say about Jay-Z is he has an uphill battle. If you take it back to 96 or where he's coming from and trying to get America to understand that perspective, that is an uphill battle, which is kind of like what Stove God Cooks is kind of like what I'm going to allude to later, or a Pusha T or whatever. But it's like these stories aren't the easiest to understand. And on top of that, there's a duality, right? So you have, if you start your songwriting career writing about light and dark, and you just follow all the dualities in life from that standpoint, well, then you're gonna be talking about a lot of different things in double entendres based on the duality. You know what I mean? So that also exists in Jay's music. Like I've always said, well, some songs I named when I first seen it. I named songs like "Dope Man," "If I Should Die," "A Week Ago," "Can I Live," "Guns N' Roses," "Meet the Parents," "Minority Report," "Beach Chair," "Song Cry," "Ocean," "Story of OJ," "Most Kings," stuff like that, right? But there is deep underpinnings to his music. Oh, and people should read Decoded, his book. Read that, man. But it's like, it's one thing to watch Scarface, right? It's another thing to live it, right? Now, I don't want to glorify living that, but if you live it, well, there are some emotions there that are hard to explain to a normal person. You know what I mean? The heightened level of paranoia is so extreme that I don't think the normal person has felt that level of paranoia, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you know for a fact that if something happens, I'm either going to get a 20 piece, like 20 years in jail, or I'm going to get killed. Like, these are but I have to remain cool. Why do you have to remain cool, Leroy? It's because the environment is not conducive to you acting out. Do you see what I'm saying? Because in this environment, acting out could very well just get you killed. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot there, and I came on, I came into the space. I was already a Jay fan, talking to Mike D and Coop and everybody, and about they was talking about Nas. I was talking about Jay. So this is authentic to me, not because Jay has a bunch of money, because I believe he's earned the right to be looked at as a great songwriter because of these factors. When you mention 99 Problems and you talk about that second verse where he's talking about the dog coming to sniff his vehicle or whatever, it's a lot that goes on into that verse. Do you see what I'm saying? So he did an interview on the New York Times today. So the first thing he was talking about really was like a flow, right? A flow. And Biggie, if y'all remember Biggie's flow, you remember Jesus from the lyrical thesis, really, you know that it's jazzy, right? So he mentioned his next door neighbor used to take him to see jazz performances, whatever. I never knew that. You feel, but now I understand the mechanics in the flow, right? This is very important to me. Why? Because I believe in the age of AI, hip hop is going to have to refine its sound. And if you look at jazz is a refinement of blues, right? And that's not to undercut blues. Blues is awesome. But when we look at jazz, it was not just the lyrics to a song. We know jazz is mostly instrumentation, but the instrumentation itself became the lyrical expression. If y'all follow what I'm saying, like the way you go crazy on your horn, it sounded like lyrics. You see what I'm saying? Like, just you could express yourself personally based on how you were playing your instrument. You feel what I'm saying? So I believe in hip hop, we are going to have to refine our flows, refine our musicality, refine our delivery, because now, again, like I said the last show, we have a machine that could do all the same stuff we could do. So we're going to have to still pass that machine. You know what I mean? So he spoke about that pocket presence. So that's, the pockets in which you're flowing in and out of. He also mentioned restraints. So restraint, we take a song like Lyrical Exercise, right? So he's rapping about exercise. How can I incorporate exercise into me rapping about the content that I would usually give my fans, right? So that's restraint. When you're writing a song, you have your ingredients for the song. You have your topic, and now you have the ingredients. I'm gonna cover this, that, the third, and then you put it all together to make a cohesion or a cohesive message or something that sounds excellent, right? So these are keys that he's unlocking, and he spoke about interior emotions, right? And he spoke about, because a lot of people say, well, your songs are just about materialism. Well, the materialism, he's rapping about cars and his jewelry and the women and the all that stuff. That is the surface level of the trinkets that he's showing you, but underneath that there's lyrical tension. There's tension underneath what he's saying on Reasonable Doubt. You feel what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, I have all this money. There's tension there. He spoke about writing for Dre, and maturing in the music, and that is the overall message that I wanted to get on, and talk about. And that's not a new message, something that we've never heard before. We've been hearing that for a long time. But I'll pair that with what I mean by musical refinement. You know what I mean? It's a maturing of the lyricism. It also needs a maturing of the flows. It needs a maturing of the musicality. Do we always have to rhyme in the same pockets, or are there some other pockets that we could rhyme in? You know what I'm saying? That's up to the artist and the people. You know what I mean? He spoke about 444. That's very vulnerable music, and that's a chamber. Like I said, I think that Drake needs to utilize. Not that he hasn't already. Not that but just because when you're very honest in your music, that's gonna grab people. It just is, like, because they can tell, like, oh, okay, now you're telling me something for real. Like, you really felt a way. You know what I'm saying? And so and that's gonna catch them. And I think that's underused in hip hop. He talked about Ends in Paris and a Story of OJ. So these are very layered songs. A song like Ninjas in Paris, you may not think is a layered song. You may just think, oh, it's just Ninjas in Paris, right? So, but if you really listen to it and go into it, it's deep. It's layered. You know what I mean? There are some other things in there. You just see what I'm saying?
No
So,
Church in the Wild. A song like No Church in the Wild pops up from the
yeah,
throne. Prime time.
of course.
No Church in the Wild. What's that song that Pete Rock did? Was it
The Joy.
the Joy? I mean, you got a lot of
Yeah.
records. Lost One pops up.
Lawson.
Lost One pops
Mm-hmm.
up, and he wrote Still Dre, one of the greatest West Coast songs of all time,
No
was a
doubt.
result of Jay-Z's pen. So I mean, as a
No doubt.
songwriter, definitely, he's one of the top 30 living. I do wish that the list was a little bit longer, because I shout out to Outkast, shout out to Young Thug, shout out to Kendrick Lamar, shout out to Missy Elliott. But I do think some other hip hop people should be on the
Oh yeah, of
list.
course. Of
I
course. Yeah.
think I think if the list was expanded about 40 or 50, we can put, I would say you can put
Yeah.
Common on that list. You can put people that's living songwriters. You can put Little Wayne on that list. You can put I would
Yeah.
argue, I mean, a lot of people don't know this. And again, if you don't know it, don't leave a nasty comment. But Drake has written a lot for a lot of artists.
Oh,
Drake has
for
been a
sure.
ghostwriter for some of your favorite MCs for a very long time.
No
A
doubt.
lot of big hit records as a result of Drake's pen, both R&B and hip hop records. I would say you can't discount. I think this list should have been expanded because we talk about the greatest living songwriters in hip hop.
Hmm.
Yes, I don't think you can have a list without Nas on it. I mean, just be truthfully speaking from a songwriting perspective. I mean, just the work of, I mean,
Man.
Fiona Apple's on this list, and Fiona's Apple's discography is not long. You know what I'm saying? And her songwriting credits are I think they even mentioned it in the article. It's not very vast, but her songs were very powerful, right? I think
Yeah.
Nas has been 30 plus years in the game, and I mean, as a ghostwriter and as a writer, you gotta you must probably shout out to Bono and the Edge from U2. They should have made the list. Dave Matthews should have made the list. I think, well, not the 30 list, but it should have been an expanded list to include Dave Matthews, Bono and the Edge, Nas, Lil Wayne, Drake. Who else did I miss? I'm missing
I got
somebody.
to have some pushback on Nas, even though that's one of our
You
greatest
got some
MCs,
pushback on
and
Nas?
of course, and up here I got a cannabis album up here. I don't know if y'all can see where, but I put things on the shelf.
Before you push back, I'm just going to ask you a question. So when I say that he should be included in a list of that could be on the top 30 living songwriters of all time,
Yeah,
or maybe top 40 or 50, when you have works like Illmatic and Stillmatic, and it was written, there was some things in Nostradamus that were pretty dope. God's Son that was pretty dope. He's got a lot, even the lost tapes. He's got a lot of records
I
that
think
people.
all of our greats are dope though. So when I talk, a lot of people will take it as, oh, I'm saying Nas is not dope. Like that's how
New York
they're
State
gonna
of
hear it.
Mind, like New York State of Mind is
But
a
I
perfect
think all
example.
of our greats are dope.
No, New York State of
Yeah.
Mind. Let's just break it down from a songwriting perspective. You know what I'm saying? Broken Glass on the hallway, bloodstained freezes,
Yeah,
painting the
well,
pictures.
yeah, of course,
I
yeah,
mean, as a
of course,
songwriter, that gives you like chills. You
of
know what I'm saying?
course.
Silent Murder. You know what I'm saying? Things records like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Major. You know what I'm saying? Just the way he weaved in and out the pocket on that record and broke it down. Let's break it down. And subliminals. He's got subliminals to 50 and Jay on that record. You know what I'm saying? Then you
Well,
got
here's
so
the
so
thing
what's the
though.
pushback on including him on the 50? If I had 50 living songwriters, what would be the pushback for Nas?
With Nas, it's not that Nas is not a great songwriter. That's not what I'm saying. But I think in songwriting, I think it also includes a rhythm, like a rhythm to make people, they're hearing the words, but also hearing it in rhythm. You see what I'm saying? Now, and also, if you're using very complex messaging, which is what Nas has done, right? These are very complex messaging. I don't know if that always gets across to the listener like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Now,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
yeah,
And
yes,
not to cut you real quick. Another two people that I left off this list. I think if there was 50, we probably have to do our own list. Be quite honest with you. But Scarface
oh,
and
we
Ti,
can,
if you want to talk about
no doubt.
songwriting, Ti and a Scarface, talk about hip hop songwriters that could craft a
Hmm.
song that paint pictures and make you see the world vividly. I would have to say Scarface. I have to say Ti. You know,
I mean,
um,
all of our greats are great. We
no,
can't.
but
Yeah.
songwriting is a particular skill. When I think of songwriting, I'm thinking about somebody that can write lyrics that make me see the world they occupy. You know what I'm saying? I can
Oh, you're
see it
right. Right.
when
Okay.
I'm painting pictures in the studio. I can actually see the environment. You can actually hear it. You can smell it. It's very vivid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The imagery of it.
Some people just get on the mic and they rap and they can flow and they put things together and it sounds dope. But to actually
Hmm.
write a song and paint a picture, I understand what Bankhead looks like. You know what I'm saying? I understand what the trap looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I understand what, being outside of Magic City at 3 a.m. looks like. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand
You want to see it, but you're
I
hearing it,
understand
but
the
you can see it.
paranoia and the fear, the
Yeah.
loneliness that Scarface raps about. I understand what Brooklyn looks like. You know what I'm saying? How a rose grows through the concrete. When Jay-Z is talking about Marcy Projects, I can see it. I might never have been to Marcy Projects. Might never been to Queensbridge. I have been to both places, by the way.
Right.
But I understand what Nas is saying on New York State of Mind Part 1 and Part 2. You know what I'm saying? I see
Oh,
it.
no, no doubt. No doubt.
It's very cinematic. So that's when I say songwriting to me is like you have to paint a picture and you have to see it. It's just not just the music. It's you say it's the flow,
Yeah.
but it's also a tapestry of vocals and
In
words
that
all coming
regard,
together.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that regard, then Nas is, he's one of the greatest ever. The in the regard that you just pointed out, right? But I also think that if you're extremely intelligent, extremely complex. How do I dumb it down so that a person who knows nothing of what I'm saying can understand what I'm saying? You see, I think that's a part of songwriting as well. And I think in hip hop, we look down on that as, you're undercutting the artistic integrity or value of the artist. So if Jay makes, if Jay makes "Can I Get a," we're like, oh well, he's a bozo. Well, in that particular song, it's a reason why he is going to bring the intellect down. Because if the song is about dancing, we was all doing this in 98, if y'all remember, right? ATL had a lot to do with that too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we was all doing that. So do you want to explain a very complex message over a song that's about dancing? Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? But even in that song, he's talking about a girl, right? He's talking about a girl. If she don't, if she ain't down to ride with you on a 9 to 5, 2 jobs to survive. Oh, she want a baller, so she, like he's explaining something there. You feel what I'm saying? Well, like, get you a girl that is going to ride with you when you ain't really popping like that. That's the one you should probably keep versus the one you got when you was already balling and she was just like, oh, okay, I'll ride with you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, it kind of
yeah,
reminds me of that your chick, the song with Memphis Bleak. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
you asking
right,
the question, is that your chick for real? You know what I'm saying? Is that your
right,
chick?
right. So any of our greats are great. I'm not gonna ever take the greatness from them or the greatness from their skill. What Jay was doing is sort of like what a Pusha T is doing, or a Stove God Cooks is attempting to do. This story is harder to accept. It's harder to get over, and it's humanizing the bad guy, if that makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the hustler, or like what Tupac was doing. Not to make it about Tupac, but the reason why Tupac was like thug this and thug that is because, well, now we have to humanize the thug. Is the thug just a crazy criminal, or are there layers to the thug, the gangster? You feel me? Does he have human layers? And Pac was exposing that there's layers behind the gangster. The gangster still loves his mama. The gangster still, he recognizes a system in place working against him. The gangster still recognizes there's a difference in the women he chooses to entertain. The gangster still recognizes that the internal violence amongst ourselves works against the greater good. So he humanized someone that we would vilify. And I think that's what Jay has done. Not that, there aren't still people that, I've seen the news be like, why do people listen to Jay-Z? He's nothing but a crack dealer. I saw that for like 20 years on the news. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've seen them do that to Common. Why do people like Common? He's a vile criminal. And now, if you think about how crazy that is, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right, right.
It's like some people are always going to be the bad guy, but when you listen to the music, there's some humanity there. Even in the worst he could get, like on "You Must Love Me," right? A normal person wouldn't tell that story, right? Because how are you gonna see me after I tell this story? I must be a very terrible person, according to what you're assessing as is good and bad, right? After I tell this story. But I have to tell it, one, because I have to be real. If I'm gonna tell you about this environment, then I'm gonna give you what the environment it really entails. Do you see what I'm saying? And in that honesty, people can see themselves. They're not going to admit it, but a lot of people have come from areas like this and have engaged in activity like this. They're not going to admit it, but when Jay admits it, it kind of frees them up to talk about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, So yeah, I sold my mom I sold my mom drugs, right? And people would be like, "Oh, well, you're a terrible human being." Right? Because that's the first reaction that you would have. But once they break it down to you, it was like, well, no, well, see, my mom was going out there to buy drugs from anywhere, from a bunch of different dangerous people. So to keep her in the house, I just said, you know what? Here, now that puts a different spin on it now. You feel what I'm saying? Does it make it right? I'm not talking about what's right or wrong. I'm talking about the totality of the entire neighborhood, the entirety of the story, the entirety of the relationship. You see what I'm saying? Of the situation, of the time period. I'm not here to debate whether good or bad. I'm here to tell you the story. You know what I mean? So that's why I think Jay had a very uphill battle, and he's been able to do that. And why, I've been saying, he's the GOAT in my opinion, and a super great songwriter, because these messages are very difficult to convey to America, and also make America accept them, and then on top of that, love them and buy them. You know what I mean? So that's a so I just wanted to give shout out to that, because I'm of course after this came out, I went to someone else's scene online, and they were like, well, Jay-Z, he stole his songs from other people. He stole Biggie songs, or he was stealing Oskino Spark songs, and it sounds good. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying, but from a songwriting perspective, right? If I write a song and I say one, two, three, into the four, I'm in the house and something at the door. Well, that I took the line from Snoop Dogg, right? Now I did that for 2 lines. If my other 46 lines are my own lines, then perhaps I was just paying homage to Snoop Dogg. Do you see what I'm saying? Perhaps I wasn't stealing. Maybe I was paying homage to music that I grew up on. And in songwriting, that happens a lot. Like it's not like before you're a songwriter, you're a fan of other artists. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you're saying an obvious line that everybody knows, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? If I end the song by saying, uh, today I didn't even have to cock it back and spray. I guess it was a good day. Well, people are gonna say, obviously, I took that. I'm referencing Ice Cube, obviously, right? But maybe I grew up on Ice Cube. And those 2 lines is paying homage to Ice Cube. So I just say all that to say, like, nah, man, Jay-Z is deserving of that. And whether people be like, oh, well, you're just a stan of Jay. Nah, I'm a stan of like quality songwriting, bro. And like, if we're gonna undercut that, the quality of the writing, that we're doing ourselves a disservice. I would be doing myself a disservice if I said that about Nas, if I said that about Cube or Pac or Common, all the way around the board. Ti, it would be a disservice. So I'm not gonna do that to Jay. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. So I just wanted to speak about that, and particularly about the things that I've laid out. Of the pocket presence, the refinement of our sound, that must happen. Hip hop, that must happen. We must refine our sound. If we are depending on 3 rappers, now 2 rappers, because J. Cole just retired. If we are depending on 2 rappers to carry this entire culture, we are in trouble. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's more so. I think, Leroy. That's more. I don't think that's an artist thing. I think that's more so a business. The way the business is set up
True,
now,
true, true,
we don't cultivate rappers. The business is
true.
just, you put out, it's 360 deals. We gonna put our money around one artist. The
Very true.
boutique label, the boutique labels are really gone. You know what I'm saying? The
Very true.
grind, everything is like more isolated. So there's not a lot of. There's no more. There's really no more groups. You know what I
Fragmented the
mean?
game.
Everybody is like so self indulgent and so self centered. Two brothers ain't gonna really rap together. They gonna get their own shine.
True. I got it.
You know, IG. So the way the music is cultivated is like different. People ain't playing instruments. So
People don't
it's
even have the budget. Now we don't have the budget, the big label budgets no more.
yeah, but you don't even. But back in the day, you really didn't need the big label budget. Like you had like Suave House and Rap a Lot, and you had
I
You know,
understand.
the Florida labels, you know what I'm saying, that could really make music because they was doing, you know, other activities that could fund their own projects.
But even
We don't
going
even
out the
have that
trunk,
pipeline. We don't have that pipeline no more. You know what I'm saying? It's not
right?
even.
But people bring up DMX or 50 Cent or Eminem, to sell over 10 million records. That means someone had to press up 10 million records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it was a
Nope.
farm system back then. Like 50 Cent
Yeah.
just didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, he was signed to Columbia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was already
Yeah. Yeah.
bubbling on a mixtape circuit,
He
and it was
was.
like a
He was.
pipeline. So Interscope saw that he could,
Yeah.
he
That's
had a
true.
way. You know what I'm saying? So we don't even have a
Yeah.
pipeline. The pipeline is gone. You know what I mean?
I
There's no
mean,
pipeline.
I mean, yes and no. Like there's not a concrete pipeline there, and the kind of one that is there is fragmented. But then again, though, it's like we all have the access to this thing called the internet too, though. And it's like, are we really utilizing the internet for everything that it could offer our our artists?
But the internet also is a gift and a curse, I would argue, because it causes us to have
True.
short attention spans. Like back in the day when somebody handed you their tape or handed you
Right.
that CD, you
Right.
actually listened to it. Or if you burned the CD,
That's true.
if you made a CD, you had one of those little. I had one of those little
Yeah.
computers that took
Burner.
like an hour to burn it, and if I took time to burn it, I would actually listen to that CD over and over again because I
For
actually
sure.
burned it. You know what I'm saying?
For
So,
sure.
or if I put a little paper in the tape and I dubbed over a tape and I wanted to hear, a burnt play to mix off the radio, I would
For
actually
sure.
listen to it over and over again. So I think right now we scrolling. I'm on TikTok. I hear a couple songs, and that's why you always said, right. And we brought this up on previous
You.
pods.
Yeah.
The songs are like 2 minutes and 30 seconds because our
Right.
attention, we're, and that's why I don't even like, the YouTube algorithm is weird. I don't really
Right.
like making short videos, to be quite honest with you, right? I think that I don't want to contribute to the problem of not dumbing down the conversation,
Like
but
half baked material.
diluting the discord or diluting the conversation. I don't want to put a 5 minute video out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, it might
Yeah.
be great. Yeah, it may work in the algorithm, but conversations, like, look, and if you really study it, if you really, I'm going on a tangent. This is Ron's tangent. If you really
Nah. Go ahead.
study where the money is going in his YouTube game, in his pod game, it's
Yeah.
going toward long form conversation. The call you her daddy
Right.
situation. Her pods be like 2 hours. The diary of a what's it called? Diary of a CEO, a man from
Yeah.
London. His podcast be like 2 or 3 hours. Joe Rogan, three hours. What's my man name? The comedian dude.
I mean
Uh,
that's good and bad too, though. It's good and bad and everything.
yeah. So long form content, I think it's important. I think the songs are longer songs with hooks and bridges are important. I
I mean,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it. I think artists should do both, right? You're gonna have your songs that are short songs that maybe that beat wasn't as fire as the other beat that you got, so you made that song a short song. Then that other beat that you got that was fire, you made a longer form song. So I think you're doing both, or you should do both. My thing is, it's the paper too. How are you gonna navigate this business and extract the wealth of your work? Now this is where it gets dicey. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to speak about Stove God Cooks now because people are like, well, just put the music out, just put the music out, and I don't want to negate the value in that opinion, because if your stuff is dope, drop it. If it's really like what you say it's like, right? However, you got to extract some type of value out of that. And how are artists going to extract the value? The thing with a Stove God Cooks, like a Jay-Z, is Jay-Z, when he came in the game, he said, my life story has value. It's not something that is worth 99. It's not something that's worth 99 cents. Each song is worth 4.99. That's his evaluation of his own music, right? So if Stove God has value over his life story, well, that makes it a little different. Should he just drop that? or should he, you know, dot his I's and cross his T's and make sure that the energy is right, the infrastructure is right, and the business format and everything is in place, and then drop it? You feel me? Because again, these are just songs to us. We don't care. We don't know these rappers. They just music to us. To the artist, that's their real life. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this ain't just a song. I'm talking about what I really lived. And there's value to that, a particularly very high value. I mean, the songs that we came up on, these are high value songs. Do you see what I'm saying? Today was a good day, whatever. Like, it ain't just no regular song. We would listen to the same album for like 2 years. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? We listen to the same album over and over. You know what I mean? All the classic stuff. Infamous, Illmatic, Reasonable Doubt, Death Certificate, All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli. We listen to these albums over and over and over. So what is the value of that? Let's say that you listen to Biggie Smalls' album Life After Death. Let's say in the last 30 years you listen to Life After Death um, for 100 times, or we'll even say like 50 times. There's a lot of value in that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because each time you heard that song, whatever it is, you guys just pick your own favorite songs.
I got
When,
a
when,
story to tell. You
yeah,
open the
when
door,
when
10 creepy
whenever
men.
you heard that song, it gave you a good feeling, right? Is why I'm assuming that you keep listening to it over and over, because it's something that feels good to you. Well, what is the price of that good feeling, particularly if that good feeling has stuck with you for more than 10 years? You see what I'm saying? Now that's serious, my guy. The artist, that's an extreme value that these songs have. You feel me? So now we're at a point in the game, where I'm talking about the refinement of the game is we can make great music, and we have the ability to do that. I know many of the artists out there. We see the artists. We know we have the ability to make great music, but we're gonna have to figure out a way that this music sticks to the culture and also extracts value. You know what I mean? And that is it. That's going to be a hard equation, because when we're thinking about that, we're like, oh, we're getting the value. Is that's no big deal. But we're thinking of the most successful artists of all time. We're thinking of Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West. So yeah, it's nothing for them to extract value. You see what I'm saying? But who's to say the brand new artist could do that? Or you know what I'm saying? Who's to say Stove God could do what the Clips did? Who's to say? You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about that pipeline on the internet or whatever it has to be solid. It got to be a solid one that we don't all have to agree upon, because that's impossible, but one that recognizes the gift of discovery. And that's another thing Jay-Z in his last point before the New York Times interview went off, right? He used to say, back in the day, it was about the gift of discovery, meaning you would show up on the block and you like, hey, I got this new album from this new artist that y'all never heard before, and how valuable that was. You know what I'm saying? To be like, y'all ain't never heard this. And you see what I'm
And that,
saying?
that yeah, and that gift of discovery is now gone, because if you say, "Man, I heard this new
Right.
rapper," I'll be like, "Okay, what's this IG, or what's it on
Right.
YouTube?"
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the way it rang on the block, it permeated through the corner in the street.
Right.
That feeling is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and
Uh,
that's why I
yeah.
hate to sound so old. I hate going to concerts and see people holding their phones up. I like for it to be etched in my memory. Like,
Right.
my wife gets upset at me because we go to our kids like concerts, and
Yeah.
if unless I got like my professional camera, if I'm shooting it for real, I'll shoot it for real and get up
Yeah.
close, get angles. But sometimes I don't want to be. I see the parents in the audience just holding their phone out. I just want to watch
Yeah,
the show.
yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying?
you kind of got to do both now, though.
But
You
I just
kind
want
of
to
got to
see it
do
though. I
both.
just want to see the memory. I just want to watch it. I don't want to have my. I don't
Yeah,
want to look at it and be like,
right. I know what you mean. Especially when you be holding up your phone and then you're kind of moving too, because you're kind of dancing to the music. Like the music is playing, you kind of feeling it, but so the camera's moving. Like you know what I
right.
mean?
And I think I
Yeah,
want to say I appreciate shows where they take your phone. Like I know when I go see Dave Chappelle
yeah,
and I think they did that with. Did they do
yeah.
it?
On him.
They might have did that with Eddie Griffith too.
I
Or
mean,
some comedy shows. They just take they put it in a pouch and they lock it up. You know what
right,
I'm saying? And
right.
it makes quite honestly, it makes the show better. I ain't checking no
I can see that.
messages. I ain't checking no messages. I ain't checking Instagram. I ain't checking YouTube Studio to see if we got a
Right.
sub. I'm
I
just
can see
watching
that.
the show and enjoying it. So I think it makes sense. But let's go to Stove God Cooks. You talked about him a little bit, but I don't think we really teed up the topic. Right now, Stove God Cooks is on Baby Grand Records. I believe they have Scrappy on the label. Who else? I think Jizz is on the label. Some other people
Well,
on the label.
yeah, yeah. They've had a lot of people
They've got a
over
lot of people on it, but
the
currently I think they have just a few artists. I think Scrappy's still there. I think Jizz is still there. Some other artist, but Stove God Cooks is on the label. He offered to buy his contract out. I
hmm
don't know where he wants to go. Maybe he wants to sign at Rock Nation. I know he's asking Jay Z for some advice to help him get out or navigate the situation. I think he offered
Right.
500,000 to buy himself out of his contract. I think Baby Grand countered and said it was 2.5. So I don't know the intricacies. I haven't really followed the story deeply to see why he wants to go. Maybe Leroy, you have some
I
input on
mean,
that. That's where he is with Baby Grand. He wants to be off his contract. He wants to be let
yeah,
out. 500,000 ain't enough. They want 2.5. What say you, sir, about the Stove God Cooks situation?
yeah. I mean, I think most of us or a lot of us can kind of we know a little bit about the situation enough to assess what's going on with it. But I think that it's just a difference between who he's working with, like him and whoever he's having an issue with at Baby Grand. It's an issue there, right? And some people are like, well, just do the work and fulfill your work, and I'm not knocking that because I too have said that before, right? But at the same token, I don't know what the disagreement is. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. And again, like I'm saying, I just talked about the value in the music. This is somebody's real life. This Stove God, this is real life. To us, it's just Stove God is just a product. He's not a human to us. He's just a product on a digital shelf. But to him, that it's his real life. You feel me? So sometimes you can't always just put it out, because you're emotionally attached to your album. If that you see what I'm saying? If you wrote it, you feel me? So you can't just drop it just to drop it. I mean, you could, but it would feel a little weird. And my solution to this problem, as of right now, not saying it's the ultimate solution or I have all the answers. As of just right now, what I'm thinking is like the purple tape, man. It's like the purple tape theory, or just hustling in general. If you're a hustler or you're in the market with a bunch of other hustlers, there's hustlers all around you. What makes your product stand out from the other products? Now we had Raekwon, he had the purple tape, right? So the purple tape is purple. That's not it's not a huge concept here. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just like people back in the day, their vials and bags would be certain colors, would have certain characters on the vials and bags for a reason. Cause so when it hits the block, you know who did what. Now that game is gone. I haven't been in the streets in a generation, but I don't believe that game is still the way it was. But what I'm saying is you have to differentiate yourself from others. And I think that Stove God needs a unique marketing strategy which fits his aesthetic, sort of like the Clips, sort of like Jay-Z, sort of like Benny the Butcher, whoever you want to pick in that lane, and go from there. You know what I mean? Because and I'm sure they have thought of that and all that already. I'm not saying that they never thought of that, but what I am saying is this game is very fragmented now. It's very, you know, if they feel like they can get 2.5 from the situation, well, yeah, they're gonna hold their ground on that. You know what I'm saying? Because wouldn't you? Anybody out there, all of you would hold your ground on 2.5 or even 1.5 or even one, right? You're
Right,
not
right.
moving off that. You're not
And
moving off that.
and I hear what you're saying. I like Stove Gods. I think
Right.
he's a dope MC. He very cinematic. He does paint pictures very vividly about the lifestyle that he lives.
Uh huh.
What's his trajectory as a hip hop star? I think is he like carved in a certain lane, like Pusha. I mean, because Pusha T, and I don't even want to say Pusha T, because Pusha T actually made a couple songs, with the clips that rang off in clubs, even though the content
You did.
was still the same. There's I don't think Stove God has that the lyrical dexterity or that flexibility, or how do I put it?
Okay.
The I don't know.
Like the range
The range. I don't know if
of
he has the
musicality.
range. I mean, his name is Stove God Cooks. I mean, how
I got you.
he?
I
Yeah,
got
I
you.
don't see how far that can go, but maybe he needs a rebrand. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he goes to, like, Titty Boy with the 2 Chains. I'm not saying that Stove God needs a rebrand, but I mean, maybe he records under another name, and that way he can get out of his contract that way. I don't know.
Um, nah, that probably won't work. I don't know what will or won't work, but I'm just saying. But I hear you though, and in some circumstances, I would green light that. I don't know if that's possible or not. So you could be right, and because I don't know what he's going through contractually, right? But I think that he built up a lot of equity in Stove God, so you don't want to lose that equity that you've already built up in Stove God. And I do think like if you can't cross over, right? Like we had a Benny the Butcher, he came out and I was saying when he went to Def Jam, I was saying he should make records for the ladies, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking if I already got the streets with me, then why do I have to keep placating to the streets when the ladies is right there? Did you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? I would have switched it and pivot like a fabulous, and I would have went to the ladies. Now, Benny is married, so I would have told my story about being married and conveyed that in a romantic way to the female fan base, and I would have sandwiched that in between street hard records. So when you buy my record at the top, at the first quarter and the last quarter of the album, you're gonna get hardcore street records. But in that middle section, I'm going love songs. That's me. That's what I would have done if I was signed to Def Jam to try to get it popping, right? You know what I mean? But there's no who's to say that would work. We don't know. That's just a try. But what I'm saying is, Stove God, he may be backed into the corner that he set for himself. But that corner is lucrative, though. That corner is very lucrative. Again, the Clips did very well for themselves, my friend. You know what I mean? West Side Gun did very well for himself. Jay-Z did very well for himself. In that corner of hustling music, I would control that corner, man. You know what I'm saying? I would, if this is my corner, then I'm gonna lock down this corner. You know what I'm saying? And he has the ability to be conscious and street. And that is a very that's a dope skill to have because it's hard to do, my guy. It's hard to do. It's like if you think about Esco 96, right? Nas is very conscious, but his music is very hard and street. That's kind of hard to do, my G, because it's two opposite energies, even though both of these energies exist in a real person. You know what I mean? So I think he should stand his ground, but there's gonna have to be something unique in his situation. You know what I mean? Because right now, it's not even really his fault. Because an artist, you just live in your life trying to do the best you could do, but the game itself is not very solid. You see what I'm saying? It's very fragmented to where we're all listening to different stuff. And it's like, how do I plant my flag in the hip hop soil and make it to where everybody comes to my block to hear what I recorded? You know what I mean? And that's the goal right there. And I don't think any of us has figured out that dynamic to uh, to a great degree. Not me, not Stove God, not Baby Grand, not Rock Nation, not anybody. Because the formula that we have been using is just dump a bunch of money on the artist in marketing, but that only works if you actually have the marketing dollars. If you don't have the marketing dollars, you're going to have to find a creative way to get that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have to be creativity more so than just, let me just get this person on all the late night shows. Let me get this person on in a movie. Let me get this person in a commercial. You know, because not everybody could do that. You feel what I'm saying? So
I got you. I got you. I got
it,
you.
it's it's a lot going on, man. But we don't want to see somebody fail. And when I talk about like Benny the Butcher, I'm not necessarily calling him a failure, because what Benny the Butcher was able to do, in my mind, is a success story. That's my opinion. But in the industry standards, they're only looking at numbers. You see what I'm saying? What they view as success. So they may look at his numbers and, well, he didn't really do. You see what I'm saying? So in order to do those numbers, we're gonna have to figure something out, man. We're gonna have to figure something out.
Interesting. Interesting, man. Yo, let us know in the comments what's your top three, top five favorite Stove God Cook songs, joints, features. Let us know, what
No
you think
doubt.
about Stove God Cooks, his situation. Leave us a comment, give us a like, buy us a cup of coffee, send us a super chat, super
We
thanks.
should.
But yeah, man, we got a lot of interesting things to talk about this weekend. But we wanted to hit you up today to really go through this list. I thought it was Leroy brought it to my attention that it came out, and
Mhm.
I saw my timeline flooded with Jay-Z, and it got me excited. I still I don't know what the end game is. Maybe it's just he's coming back and gearing up for the Roots picnic and gearing up for the two shows at Yankee Stadium. I do
Well,
think it may be something larger looming, maybe a tour, maybe an album. I even
I
heard
hope
this
I
morning
hope it's.
there was speculation that Beyonce might be coming out in May. I don't think that's happening, but
I don't know, but I
yeah,
hope it's an album
well,
personally.
but
You
I'm
know?
just interested, and then a part of me is like,
Yeah.
leave well enough alone, you know. But if he has something to say, you can't tell an artist when the art speaks to them to make something. So if
Well,
the art is pushing him to make music and he has
yeah.
wants to express it and wants to get it out to the world, then let it happen. But I don't know. I'm just interested to see what the next steps are in this
Yeah.
process and what it would sound like, and I'm interested. So we don't know. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. We don't know what's going to happen. We'll
Well,
we'll
I
see.
think I think with Jay Z, I mean, the best thing he could always do is tell his truth. I think as long as you tell your truth, it's going to work. Because how could it not work? You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you my truth about my real life. How could that not work? You just
Right.
see what I'm saying? So, but he has the Roots picnic concert coming up. That would be my main focus. Is making sure that concert is what it's
Right.
supposed to.
Well, we don't
Be.
know if Jay-Z's coming out with an album. What we do know is that on May 15th, the ice will melt, and the ice man
It hasn't melted yet. Like, damn.
the ice man will be on a block near you. He'll be at the barbecue
I
pool
mean,
party club near you. He'll be in the whip down the street.
even
He,
with Drake, if
ice
Drake
man,
tells his truth, that's an automatic win. That's
ice
an
man,
automatic win.
ice man. May 15th. We know that's coming, and we're gonna have a jam packed show. I know Super says he don't want to speak on it, so it may just be me and Leroy talking about it
I mean,
because he done with Drizzy, basically. But we'll talk. We'll get him to talk about it a little bit.
well, Steve Stout said this is Drake's most important album, the one that's going to come out, right? And
Yeah,
however he formulated that, Okay, that's on him, and I can't knock his opinion because he's Steve Stout. I mean, he been around. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, and I liken it, like I said on the last show, that it's still up. My MacBook is fried. The show is still uploading. On you'll see it on the show. Might be this show. That show might come out after this one. I don't know. But on the last show, I said this is his Black album. I was trying to
Okay,
say this is his, this is his Black album.
the
This is
comeback after
his,
the
his
battle.
statement album. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
I think this is a statement album. He has to really cement himself in the game, who he is, reestablish
I
himself,
can see that.
and he has to break the record. He's tied with Michael Jackson right now, so he has to. I think if anything,
Okay.
he's got to break that record. He's got to break that record on the. He's got to get a number one record off this album
I
so he can break.
mean,
Because right now he's tied with Michael Jackson,
okay,
and
okay.
if he breaks the record, then
I would have.
I don't think anybody will break Drake's record if he passes Michael off this record.
I'm surprised he hasn't already passed Michael, but if
Number
not,
one, number one solo records. So
okay.
yeah,
You know, if he does, we're gonna clap it up for him because I just can't hate on people. It's just not in my DNA to do that. But if he just if he does what he normally does, right, and what I mean by what he normally does, if his new album sounds like his other albums, well, it's not like I'm gonna be mad. Mad is not the emotion I would feel. I would just say, okay, cool. Like I'm not gonna be super excited. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna look at him a certain way. I'm just gonna say, cool. Like he did his job. Like he did his job. But if he does something different, though, that's what I would be impressed by. And I'm not saying it has to be drastically different. He has to be a totally different person. That's not what I'm saying, yeah. But I'm saying, as someone from the school of Jay Z, he 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 reinvents himself, right? Reasonable Doubt is not the same guy from Volume 2. The guy from Blueprint ain't the same guy from Volume 2. Kingdom Come ain't the same guy from, you see what I'm saying? It's a different 444 isn't the same guy from Magna Carta, which isn't the same guy from A Written Testimony, which isn't the same guy from American Games. You see, each time he shows up, it's a different aspect of his personality. Do you see what I'm saying? If Drake can show up and do all the things he normally does at the beginning of the album, that's great. I mean, I'm not gonna knock that. That's what you should do. But if he can show a different aspect of his personality, now that is something different. You see what I'm saying? Because now you're feeling something fresh. You're feeling a new perspective of how you saw this person. Because as people, we all have different layers. I'm sure you're not the same way all the time, depending on your surrounding or your evolution in life. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I mean, Drake is giving you like the introspective Drake. He's giving you like the
Yeah.
longing of
So
Drake, the longing for the girl Drake, the heartbroken Drake. He's giving you
all of that,
the reggaeton, the grime Drake with the London
all
patois.
of that,
You know what I'm saying? The Caribbean Drake. He's giving you, you know what I'm saying, the pop Drake. You know what I'm saying? He's
all
giving
of
you
that.
the
Well, yeah.
Miami Drake, the down south Drake, the Cash Money Drake. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
giving you a few different layers. You know what I mean?
he does have the ability to make you feel a way about a rich person, about a wealthy person. What I mean is, he's wealthy, right? We all know this, but sometimes, and for a glimpse second, he'll kind of make you feel bad for a wealthy person. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's not easy to do. You know what I'm saying? That means he can write at such a way, a level, to where sometimes he could make you forget that he's wealthy. and because you're caught up in the emotion of what he's saying. You see what I'm saying? And
Well,
that and
what kind of like Jay Z? When we listen to, I
yeah,
mean, I hate to
yeah,
call it the Family
exactly,
Feud.
exactly.
I mean, that's not a really a rich,
Yeah, you
song.
can feel that. Oh, this is still a human. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
still a
like
human.
Lost One, like a song like Lost One. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's
right,
human story. Yeah.
right,
Even the
and
example, anything. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
I did. I hate that people didn't really like that record because he thought he was just doing a kind of a
Yeah,
hard,
I like
a
that.
hard knock life. But if you listen to that anything record that was on the Memphis Bleak album, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He says
I
another
like that record. I
all
ain't gonna
day.
front,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Stand on your own two, do what works for you. He's dropping jewels in that joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh,
and that just comes from that just comes from a perspective. Like there were some perspectives that a person doesn't have, and that's for everybody. That's not money based. You everybody has a perspective that other people don't have. Like it's something that you lived in your life that is unique to just you. And maybe, there's a few other people that lived it too, but what I mean is like it's really unique to you. So when you express that, it could go far because a lot of people haven't seen that perspective. So if he can, have some new perspectives on there, and I think if it was me, I would just make the center of the album or the late parts of it about what it's like to lose a battle, even if I don't admit that I lost. I'm just admitting to the consensus around me is that I lost. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and how that made me feel. Now, I don't have to get deep into how, like, I went home and cried myself to sleep. No, it's not that, but it's just that I saw the shift in the energy, and it made me get back focus on me holding my ground, my dominance, my section, my status, my to let y'all know that even if I lose a battle, I'm still him. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
I'm to
he
me.
turned cold. He turned
Yeah.
into the ice. He turned into the Iceman.
Okay.
Well, on that note,
But that's the one thing. If you try to play the I'm numb to everything, which I think you're gonna do, Drake, that's cool, and I get it. But I think that if you expose some vulnerability, and like I said to all artists, if you expose some vulnerability, it's gonna capture people. It just is. It just is. Like everybody on earth has felt vulnerability before. Every person.
man, player, we ice cold, player. Ice
All
cold.
these people that are telling you they're tough, yes, there is times where they have been tough. That is perfectly okay. We most of us know what it's like to win a fight. Like we got into a fist fight with somebody and we won that. Most of us know what that feels like, and that's awesome. But when you express what it's like to lose a fight, now that is a different ball game because most people would never do that. So when you do that, you're gonna be the only one. Oh yeah, I lost that fight. I got up, dusted myself off, got back fly again, came back outside again. Now that story right there, that has value to it because most people not gonna say that. Most people not gonna say that. You see me? So we'll see what he does, man. We'll
No
see
doubt,
what.
no doubt. Stay tuned. Keep it locked here on the weekend round. We're gonna have the most exclusive news and updates. And when we get more songs, as we get closer to the drop, we're gonna have more discussions about the biggest release of the summer, I would say, which is the Iceman, May 15th. If you haven't seen the New York Times article, check out the 30
No
greatest
doubt.
living songwriters. Read it. If you're not familiar with some of the songwriters on the list, use Spotify, use Apple Music, use Tidal, familiarize yourself. Just check out a song. You might discover something that's dope. If you never heard of Fiona Apple, if you never heard a Lana Del Rey song, or if you never heard of
Lana Del Rey is
Nicki,
fire.
Nicki, maybe Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you didn't know they wrote that. Or maybe if you go back and dig in the crates with Babyface, man, I didn't know he wrote that record. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And you might be pleasantly surprised. I mean, go back and listen to Kendrick Lamar's like Rigor Mortis, Ronald Reagan era, Love off of Damn, records like that. You know what I'm saying? Go listen to some
Yeah,
album.
go back through it, man.
And if you're puzzled, if you're perplexed, how did Young Thug make the list? Go back and listen to some Young Thug records and see.
Yeah, I'm perplexed.
How many editors of New York Times said that Young Thug is one of the greatest living 30 songwriters of living. So check it out.
I don't know.
It may surprise you. You may become, if you're not hip to Young Thug, you might come away as a Young Thug fan. So check it out. But let us know in the comments what you think. Should the list have been expanded? Should we make our own list? Again, I would say I would put people like Bono and the Edge, Dave Matthews on this list. I would put uh yeah, I mean, even somebody as dope as like, Ryan Leslie wrote a lot of records, you know what I'm saying?
Ryan
Teddy,
Leslie's fire.
I mean, Teddy Riley. I mean, who else? I
Here,
mean,
here's the thing about that. What I mean by the game is fragmented. Not to cut you, because we talked about Stove God. Ryan Leslie put out some fire albums that people just didn't hear because he used his own smartphone to put these albums out, and they're rap albums. He's rapping. He's rapping the entire time. Full rap albums. He got like three of them, and it's like the game never heard him, and that's just it's unfortunate, man. Because when we talk about hit records, he just dropped three albums full of hit records of him rapping,
right.
and people
I mean,
nobody
there's
heard
a
it.
lot of people. Man, the list should have been 50. The list should have been 50 because you got people like, even like people like J. Cole and Raekwon and Tank. Tank wrote a lot of records for people. I mean, you got a lot of songwriters that, I guess you just can't put everybody on the list, but go back and listen. Go do your Googles and look at what Tank wrote for Jamie Foxx and all these different type of artists. You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
It'll blow your mind. But anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Tell a friend,
for
tell a
sure.
friend. This is the weekend rhyme. I'm your boy Ron. That's Leroy Green. We'll be back either
Yes,
before the
sir.
weekend or at the weekend. We appreciate you. 2 episodes coming. 2 episodes coming. Peace.
Oh yeah.